Happy Friday afternoon. Hope you had a good week. It's been a good week here. Had a little bit of snow up the East Coast over the weekend. Our friends up in New England got buried, absolutely buried over the weekend. I'm happy to say that it is 50 degrees and sunshine here in the Midwest, here at the Orange Nomad Studios. I'm probably going to get out, bust off some shorts, and maybe take a walk after this live stream. But if you're here watching this live, say what's up in the chat. Love to have you join the conversation today. If you've never heard of our Friday jam sessions, I was begged mercilessly by those who watch this. I would do this every Friday. We just jam out, relax, get ready for the weekend, answer questions, maybe nerd out on some stuff while we're here. But if you happen to be here, say what's up in the chat. Let me know you can hear me, see me, all that good fun stuff. But yeah, we got a few things to talk about this week. Let me just go make sure we are live over on LinkedIn land. But yes, if you are watching the live stream, say what's up in the chat. So it looks like we are rocking the chat. So perfect. So I got a couple things that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of some interesting dynamic of things going on right now. In the IT space. I've been in the IT space for 30 years, but I've not seen the groundswell of change like we're seeing right now. It's interesting when I read articles like this that popped up on my LinkedIn feed yesterday. The guy who originally started Twitter. Jack Dorsey is behind Square and the Cash App, but they are laying off 4,000 people, half its staff. So they're reducing the staff of 10,000 to less than 6,000. So they are dropping people, and we've kind of seen these headlines go round and round and round and round. Let me zoom in on that so you can actually see that. But it's interesting, like the dynamic here that I think is relevant right now if you're an IT provider. And again, I've got a lot of friends still in the space. It brings up an interesting question if you're an MSP, MSSP, whatever we're calling ourselves these days. But I was a per seat license person. We're starting to see that kind of evaporate. In a rapid pace. We're seeing that in software. We're now seeing that when we have headlines like this where companies are looking to reduce staff because the promise of AI is there. But I think we're a little bit behind in the industry in showing them how to do that. And I think companies like this, big companies that have 10,000 people, most of our clients probably aren't 10,000, don't have 10,000 people. But I think we're starting to see that trickle down into that small, medium-sized business space. I think the promise is there for AI being able to have people create more efficiencies. I don't think it's necessarily about getting rid of people to get rid of people. But let's just face it, we're all, as small businesses, we're all under pressure to keep the lights on, to keep employees happy, to continue to deliver experiences. But I think the challenge that we have in headlines like this is our small business customers are having those conversations in their head. They see these headlines as well. But I think it's our time to rise and get ahead of that conversation. Because if I were running my MSP right now, and like we based our MSP contracts on per users. So if you had 100 users inside of your firm, we knew how much it was. You knew how much it was as a customer. And every time you added a new user on, your price would increase. But in the same thing, whenever we see layoffs happen, I think that's going to be the challenge this year for MSPs is when people lay off en masse like that. That is going to be an overnight hit that a lot of folks weren't expecting. And I think that's kind of the scary thing. I think as we look at the landscape of where this year is going to go, and I think that's the part that worries me the most. I think there's a lot of small, nimble MSPs out there that may not be prepared for this monumental shift that is coming. This is a conversation that's going on in our customers' heads. But I think this is the conversation you need to get in and start having with your clients right now. And this is why, I highly stressed, doing regular business reviews, whatever you call them, TBRs, QBRs, and we call them business acceleration reviews. But I think it's a chance to get in and have that conversation. We want to accelerate their business, but we know that there's going to be some addition by subtraction this year just because of the way things are. If you just joined us, join in the conversation. If you happen to be watching this after the fact, I would love to continue this conversation on how we can be better prepared as an industry and what we do to get ahead of that conversation. What challenges are you having getting behind conversations so that when headlines like this pop up and our customers starting having those conversations in their head, that we're not caught flat-footed? And I would start having this conversation right now. I would have probably started this conversation in Q4 of last year, but here we are. But I'm curious to see what challenges you're seeing in the market. If you happen to be watching this live, drop that in the chat. Say hello. I love to have people join me in the chat. It's always, as we get this going again, it's always a challenge on Friday afternoon. People kind of check out, start doing other things. But I wanted this to be a safe place for us to talk, have that conversation. But if you've got any other questions, challenges out there, let me know in the chat. I'm going to flip over and take a quick drink here. Again, this is our Friday jam session. We'll listen to some jams. Sean, welcome to the party. Yes, even channel account manager check-ins, there needs to be readiness to discuss those changes. Absolutely, my friend. And again, that's where those leadership positions, if we're a vendor in the space, we really need to get our MSPs and our clients prepared to have those conversations. Sean, what are you seeing the main challenges that MSPs are finding? I hate to put you on the spot here. But what challenges do you see that MSPs, is it education? Is it I'm just curious, what is the challenge? That's what I'm hearing a lot of is folks don't know how to go in and properly educate their clients on how to actually execute AI, and how to weave it into workflows, not just turn on Microsoft Copilot and hope for the best. That's kind of the challenge that I see. A lot of folks are just, okay, we turned on AI. They'll figure out how to make their processes better, how to figure it out. That's where I see the challenges of having those conversations and the vendors. Yeah, it was a great place to start having those conversations. Because I feel like the marketing, the templates, and the stuff that's out there right now, we're having conversations around backup, disaster recovery. And I'm not saying that those are not important things, but those are conversations I was having as an MSP 12 years ago. That's not what's keeping a small business owner up at night. Let's face it. Yes, that's important. But I think the thing that's keeping them up at night is headlines like that. Headlines like this, where they see big companies doing that, announcing it, saying it's because of AI. and not knowing really what to do themselves as a business owner. Yeah, it's a great point. So the ones I've worked with are struggling to weave a full story with the multiple solutions on deck. Yeah, and I think that's the challenge for MSPs. Like, we like to talk about the tools. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I nerd about the tools all day long. But I think they're leading with that conversation that AI equals Copilot. And I think it's a dangerous conversation because that may not be the solution that your customers want to use. We had the same thing when Dropbox came on the scene. We all want to push them towards SharePoint, OneDrive, something that we can manage. But then again, Dropbox showed up and people started downloading Dropbox, loading up their files. Like, that is the progression of the market. And I like, what really kind of would scare me is, OpenClaw, and now it's OpenAI bot, Moltbot or ClaudeBot, whatever it was called. But like, that's the dangerous part for me, is we're not having that conversation with our customers enough, showing them what is possible. And again, just turning on Copilot and hoping for the best is not a great strategy, because people are downloading ChatGPT. Like, I actually saw on my LinkedIn profile, an attorney bought a refurbished Mac Mini off of Apple's website, loaded OpenClaw over the weekend, was going to town on it, and unfortunately he exposed a lot of his firm's data in doing that. But I think there's the danger. So we automatically want to go to the danger conversation, and I'm not saying that that's not important, but I think in that danger conversation, the flip side of it is, what are they looking for AI to actually do? What advantage are they looking for it to do? That, I think, is the opportunity. That, I think, is the opportunity for vendors to get in and have those conversations and show our MSP customers how to have those conversations around productivity. I mean, the goal is increased productivity, being able to do, I think it's taking the minutia tasks. That's really where I have found AI not, do my content for me, because let's face it, AI can't get on live and have a real conversation. It could, but anyway. But I think having conversations around tools your customers are actually using, they obviously want some type of outcome out of that. And I think that's where we got to get ahead of the education internally as an industry, and lead the discussion on where AI is actually going. Not just showing our MSPs, here's how to automate all of your content, all of your marketing. Like, that's helpful, but it's not a business outcome. Like, Sean, I was just going to say that I would recommend leading with the business outcome that the MSP customer is looking for, and become the orchestrator of the managed services that will deliver it. That right there is the conversation. Like, what is the outcome they're expecting to get? Just as for instance, attorneys were kind of my bread and butter customers. And again, I'm still connected with hundreds of them on LinkedIn, over a decade after getting out as an MSP. But that's what they're looking for. The business outcomes that I was marketing, that I was delivering over a decade ago, was this. And if you've seen any of my, webinars, podcasts, I talk about it all the time. The conversation that I would have with attorneys is around this promise. We help family-owned attorneys in the state of Ohio, where we were based in Columbus. We help them increase billable hours by 25% in the first 90 days without adding staff or office space, so they could go home at 5 o'clock. That is an outcome. That is the promise that we would deliver. And that was without AI. That's when Zapier, like, we didn't have Zapier and Make, N8N, and all these automation tools out there. We didn't have agents that you can plug in and do a lot of that heavy lifting for us. And I think about that today. If I were delivering that message today, how easy that would be. Like, we had a whole checklist of things that we would do in the onboarding process when we would bring an attorney on board. And family-owned attorneys had generally the same type of problems if they had been in business less than 10 years. We knew what to look for. And we had a checklist that we would go through. And a lot of that was manual. But again, that system of checks and balances that we would go through. Like now I think about that, I'm like, we could easily, automate so much of that part of the process. I know that I could probably increase billable hours by 25% in like the first 2 weeks with the AI tools that are out there. Just because I know what to look for. I know the inefficiencies that they probably have being in a smaller firm, maybe 10 to 12 attorneys. That means their staff is probably anywhere from 20 to 25, but they all have the same pain points. And it's solving those pain points, and it's that quick win. Having that quick win. People want, when they switch to an IT provider, they want those quick wins. We're 20 years into the MSP industry. Most clients have already had 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 MSPs now. When I got started in 2004, like it was the Wild West. There, everybody was learning what managed services is. 20 years later, customers still don't know what managed services is, but I digress. But they've been through 3, 4 MSPs that have promised to do everything, promised to deliver IT services, but we're not delivering the outcomes that they want. And I think Sean hit the nail on the head, like that, the outcomes that people want, we've got to lead those conversations and show them how to get there. Here is the roadmap on how to do this in a systematic fashion. And I think that's the important differentiator that we have, that we could deliver as MSPs and do that very, very well, in my opinion. Let me just switch over here too, because one of the things, let me grab a link here. One of the things I've been working on, because I kind of see this being that problem, and if you watch my live stream last week, I did talk about it as well. Just throw this up here. Is around that the education part of our MSPs. That's why, like, for me, I'm a systems and process junkie still to this day. So I think in frameworks. And if you've seen any of my training over the last 5 years, you'll know that, training and frameworks are super important. But when you have these, it is really easy to teach AI what you need it to do. And I think this is a conversation that I would love to see MSPs implement and be able to show people, hey, look, we can take you from A to B. We can get you there. Here's the roadmap. That's what our customers want. And I don't see anybody delivering it. And I think that's the vacuum in the market. That's our opportunity to deliver this year more than I've ever seen. Like, I've not been as excited about the MSP industry since 2004. Let's be honest. 2004 was the Wild West. It was like anything goes. Didn't have all the vendors that we had today. We were kind of figuring out what worked, what didn't work. Pricing was like whatever people would pay. It was all over the place. But now we have the chance to have that conversation with people and be able to walk them through a roadmap. And I've gotten a few people interested in learning this type. I've thought about doing a paid cohort, but I've been mulling that around this week, especially like what to do with that. Just because I think it's so important in our industry. As a small founder, a small MSP, we need all the advantages that we can get. Even our, us mid-size MSPs, those doing $2 to $5 million, we need those advantages. If you're trying to get to $1 million in revenue, like, you need every single advantage you can get. But being able to teach people frameworks, I actually think I'm going to start delivering this live starting next week. I have a whole training, again, just walking you through this whole training, this whole framework. And I think instead of doing a paid cohort, I think I am just going to start training it on sessions like this. We're going to do it live, and hopefully move the benchmark towards a conversation, because the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be. And I'm an entrepreneur since I was 8 years old, so I fight for the underdogs. And I see like everybody's becoming an underdog no matter what size you are now in the IT space. So we need every advantage that we can get. But again, it's just walking you through how to actually have this conversation with your clients, how to implement it yourself. I think that's the other challenge. And Sean, if you're still here, is that a challenge you see inside of your client base? Is it a tough time for them to figure out how to use AI properly in their own business? And that is a challenge leading to the next step would be teaching others. If I don't know how to do it, how can I teach others? That's kind of the other challenge that I'm seeing, especially with nimble MSPs. Like they don't really have the time to go make training. They don't have, like, a lot of them really don't have time to do research and development on what works and what actually works and what doesn't, let alone taking the time to map a process like this. But again, it's something that I've been mulling about. Really, like I said, I have been all about giving back since I got out of the IT industry in 2014. I've been in the IT industry for 30 plus years. I've been kind of giving back everything that I learned in businesses, multiple businesses, applying it to the tech industry. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, drop it in the comments. Let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. Again, I think I'm going to do this with free live streams, just to get as many people as I possibly can educated. Like that's, I'm a huge fan of education. And I think, like I said, I just want everybody to have a fighting advantage to stay in business this year. Because let's face it, if our IT providers go out of business, all of their customers suffer. Like everybody suffers when that happens. So I think it's super important for us to, as an industry. So that's going to be my way of giving back. Is I think I'm going to teach this. If you're interested, drop that link in the comments, DM me on LinkedIn. If you got my email me. I'm not going to put that up on a live stream because every bot in this universe will be messaging me. But yeah, I think that's probably something I'm going to do. And I think it's important. Like it's important for me. I spent the last 18 months or so working inside of $1 billion software vendor here in the industry, trying to make a difference. But I've left that just because I've had the itch to get back out on my own. After my uncle died last year, before I went on stage in Vegas, something just rekindled my love for being an entrepreneur. He taught me that. He was a mentor, taught me how to always have a side hustle. So I always did, from the time I was 8 years old. So I'm all about helping the underdog entrepreneur out there. So I think this is going to be my way to give back this year and at least give people the tools that they need to arm themselves to survive. Because I think it's to me, it's a blue ocean moment too. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to win a lot of business by leading this conversation and doing it in such a way where you're having those meaningful conversations that's keeping a CEO up at night. When he sees those headlines, like people are laying off, how do I become more efficient? How do I get better at what we do? We're all stressed by profit margins. Like it's just a challenge everywhere we go. So Sean makes a point here. He said, MSPs have to make the time to become the trusted advisor. There's so much noise by vendors around AI that it's overwhelming. The really successful MSPs will be trusted advisors. That means they need to be experts on what AI solution to position where. And I think that, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm gonna give Sean, thank you for all of the insights too. I think it's important, to have these conversations, to get educated. But I do think that there is tons of noise out there. That was one of the reasons, I initially was going to make this a paid cohort program over 5 weeks. But yeah, if I was sitting in an MSP seat right now, I would agree with you like wholeheartedly, Sean. Like everybody's telling me, oh, this tool will do this tool will do that. It's hard to figure out. It's hard to separate the signal from the noise. And that's just, like I said, what I want to be is just allow you to be that signal in all the noise for your customers. So Sean, if that's something you would be interested in for your clients, let me know too. I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy to get other vendors in the space to get this out there, to get this education out there so that people can benefit from it. Because yes, if you're a vendor, I mean, in the MSP space, in the IT space, and like we're gonna have some attrition this year. Like I don't want to say it. I hate even saying it and thinking about it, but I think we are going to have some contraction in the market this year, just because of the age. Us old guys have been around for a while, 30 plus years, are finding the challenges of navigating yet another change. And this is probably the biggest one really since the internet, 95, when everybody started getting internet. Like it changed how people work. Like we're in one of those another moments where this is going to change how people work. It already is. And I think that's the great discussion that we need to have. But yeah, so if you're just joining us, say what's up in the chat. Sean and I are just hanging out. I think we're just hanging out one-on-one today on a Friday afternoon. But yeah, last week was my first live stream in 2 years. I used to do these every Friday, have these conversations, have these discussions, do a little bit of live training, Q&A. But I'm kind of getting that muscle, strengthening that muscle again for doing these every Friday. So yeah, I would love to be, outside enjoying 50 degrees right now, but I will be after we're done. But yeah, if you just joined us, say hello to Sean and I in the chat. We'll get some jams going, switch gears on the conversation. Sean, if you're still hanging out, how long have you been in the space? Looks like you're hanging out from the Rochester Institute of Technology. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with us today. I always like meeting people from all over the internet. That's why the other reason I used to do these live streams. I love all of the connections that I'm able to make in the industry, like new friends. Like I've met a lot of people in real life the last few years since COVID. I started live streaming. The first live stream that I really got into was April Fool's Day of 2020. Like right as COVID started, I wanted something to do. I wanted to be a sounding board for other entrepreneurs, because I remember what that was like in 2008. I had a 4-year-old kid, a 4-year-old MSP, a new MSP business, and no peer groups. Like it was such a lonely time. So yeah, I started going started live streaming on April Fool's Day of 2020, and I can't believe to say this, like 6 years. That is nuts. I cannot believe 6 years has gone by. But yeah. Alan, thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon as well. Alan and I have been kind of nerding out on some solutions. I popped the the window on some of the things I was doing last week. Let me see here. Switch screens here. But Alan, I think you'll. I was almost late getting this live stream ready because the nerd in me has come out again. I have fallen in love with Replit. I've built, well, today, actually this week will be my 5th app that I created. And I thought I would test my hand at website design inside of Replit. And this is what I've been banging on this week. Yeah, so haven't done the full product launch yet, but full teasers here. Another business that I'm kind of starting around that theme of product development, AI powered applications, integrations across systems, and driving outcomes. Yeah, I've been doing a lot with Replit, but we're going to be launching Orange Labs soon. That's my agency around creating AI powered applications, development. Like I said, I've just absolutely fallen in love with the ability to take something that's in my head, prototype it, and actually work it into a full production application. That's what we're launching. Probably that's what I'm looking at. I got the site pretty much there. But yeah, we're going to be launching that probably March 1st. That was kind of my plan. Man, that's crazy. What is that? That's Monday. I think that's Monday. Yeah. Wild to have that conversation. We're already almost through the first quarter of 2025. But yeah, so I was able to put this together right inside of Replit. I'm going to be launching it to the domain probably this afternoon when we get off of here. But yeah, we're going to do some, full application development, AI powered solutions, integrations with all of your tools. I think that's the other challenge that people have. We don't want to learn how to use Replit or N8N, Replit, or any of the other stuff. We'd rather just have somebody do the stuff for us. That's kind of the fun stuff I've been geeking out on lately. So, yeah. So we'll be hiring. So I'll be hiring some application programmers. But yeah. So if you're interested in having your own application built, that's the other thing too, is that we'll offer out there as well. But yeah, just a sneak peek on some of the things I've been working on. It's been exciting. It's been fun. Sean said, I started in the early 2000s managing product hardware and then went into software in 2004, Computer Associates, and built their MSP partner program in 2014. Left them when Broadcom bought them. Let me pop this back up here. I've been in SaaS ever since 2018. So you've seen a lot of change if you've been in the SaaS industry since 2018. Well, I mean, so let's take another challenge in the market then. If you've been in SaaS any point in time, Sean, like what challenges do you see? I feel bad because I partially maybe a competitor. But what challenges have you seen in the advent of applications like Replit? Like I've seen some junk out there, but like I come from 30 years in the IT space, so I come at these applications a bit differently, with a different mindset, building security in first. But yeah, that's the stuff that I geek out on, is actually the execution of these outcomes and putting the tools in place to deliver those outcomes. But yeah, I think Alan, you sent me a link yesterday I was messing around with, building Replit apps. But I've been mulling this over for probably 4 or 5 months with the Orange Labs idea, and just like even just my own tool stack. How do I simplify my own SaaS application stack so that things talk to each other properly? We're moving data in and out, getting tasks done, like without having 50,000 automations that are duct taped together. And I really have been impressed with what I've been able to create, with Replit, and be able to connect Go High Level, which is my CRM tool, be able to connect that with ClickUp, which is my project management, SOP management, our process management and project management live in one application. But yes, I've been trying to whittle our tech stack down to something that's more manageable and I'm able to do things in. But yeah, I've been love what I've been able to create right inside of, with Replit. Like, it's been just, I just am blown away by the power of what you can do. And especially somebody who does have a tech background can kind of put this together a bit faster than most folks. We fire up this other project I was working on. Yeah, so I've had a couple people reach out. I think, Alan, you were on here last week. I demoed my cohort application that I built because I didn't want to manage yet another application out there. But yeah, I built this app. Again, everything you're seeing here is built right inside of, let me switch this off so I can unlock. There we go. All right, so now I'll switch over here. That way I'm not showing passwords live on the air. That's always the fun part. But yes, this whole application I was able to build right inside of Replit over the last, 8 weeks. And I love the fact that I can come in here, like I'm creating something that's customized for what I want to do with it. And I think that was, I had my own website with BuddyBoss, a WordPress theme, BuddyBoss, and then there was 50,000 plugins I had to manage to get the thing working. High Level has a course, but it's not what I want. It's like, it does not have the aesthetics that I wanted to have. So I was able to create something that is mine and does exactly what I want it to do, and to be able to tie into other tools that I'm using. Like this right here is the cohort management system. I actually had a few coaches reach out to me this week that saw my live stream from last week and said, hey, I was thinking of, I've been trying to find something similar to that for a while. Haven't been able to do it. But like I was able to, like I could, if you asked me to program this 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I actually have integration right inside of my app with Zoom. So I was able to create an application that links Zoom, and I'll give you a quick peek how that works. So if I come in here, to create, I've scheduled these events already, but when I log out or I turn the app off, I got to reauthorize Zoom. So this allowed me to build a secure application interface, API, straight from Zoom right into my app. So now my Zoom is connected, and when I schedule an app, it automatically creates the Zoom meeting right in Zoom. I don't have to log into Zoom to set this meeting. And then when I'm done, all of the recordings will go into a recordings folder as well. I can easily come in here, add the recording, upload the recording. Again, it's something built in that I wanted to have that I couldn't find. And that's the thing with software management that's been difficult, is they build for masses. So that's been always the challenge of getting something you want. So Sean said, I've always been on the vendor side working with customers and partners. But yeah, I'm curious to see too, like how solutions like this make people's life easier. But yeah, so I think I've got, recordings here. But yeah, you can remove, and again, I built what I wanted it to be. And that's the great thing. So if I'm on the member side, so that was the administrator side. So as a member, I come in here to cohorts headquarters. I can come in here, watch all the recordings all in one place. Like everything is right there. I can have missions, have a leaderboard, badges. I can see all the members. I can chat with them all inside of one app. And I think that's the thing that excites me is being able to, everybody throws that online. I think that's the flavor of the day this past couple weeks is, I got rid of $5,000 a month of my enterprise apps and don't pay for any of them anymore. It's just a headline to me. That's clickbait. I think we'll always have, I don't think there's ever been or will be an application that does everything. But this one solved a particular challenge that I have, and I see, people my age that might be wanting to retire but don't want to retire. I think the knowledge transfer that we have onto the next generation will be another thing that's super important. This next generation of entrepreneurs that's coming up, those of us who have lived it, like Sean and Alan and others, have a lot that we can share to bypass some of the processes and problems and roadblocks that we've run into over the years. So I think that's going to be the exciting thing I think comes out of the next year or so as well, is a lot more people, a lot of us gray hairs have we've got this weird thing with technology, but I think teaching the next generation is going to be important for us to hand that knowledge down. And that's kind of the other part that excites me, is creating something where I can do that. Platforms like this, being able to live stream, and authenticity in a world of everything being artificially generated. I think live streaming and doing things in real life are going to become even more valuable. And that's what, people want, that authenticity. I think people are craving it, especially this younger generation, because they're having relationships online and not in the real world. And you got to come out in the real world sometimes. So, but yes, if you're just joining us, join the party with Alan and Sean and I, just hanging out on a Friday afternoon, listen to some jams. But if you're just joining us, say hi in the chat. I think those are the things I kind of wanted to chat about today. If you happen to be, like I said, if you're watching this on the live stream, got questions, drop them in the chat. I comment to everybody who comments, regardless if they're live or on replays. If you happen to be catching this, if you're watching this and you're interested in attending, I'm going to be doing my, if you caught the top part of the broadcast, I'm probably going to start advertising for this, probably next week, because I might actually turn our Friday live streams into this for the next 5 weeks and just do the AI leverage framework live. Maybe build some tools on Replit that you might be able to use. But yeah, just get into having this conversation with customers right now is going to be super important. Sean, since you're on the vendor side, what things can we help arm customers and partners with besides the education? Do you see any other missing pieces? Alan, feel free to chime in from that other side as well. Like, what other missing pieces can we put together for our industry this year to arm people with as many weapons as they can to survive this very, it's just, what did my wife call it last night? She used the name for it. We're in a weird place right now. I was trying to think of that. I'm going to do a search for it right now because I can't think of the name of the movie with Shia LaBeouf. I think that's how you say his name. Shia LaBeouf. Let's see, he was in a movie that, it's been a while, but man, I can't think of the name of it. So let's see if I can find it. Somebody's going to get to it before I did. So basically, come on, I can't find it. got all his other movies. Basically, the premise of the movie was about, stopping the machine, and how like every move he makes, the computer would see it. Oh man, I can't. It's been a while since that movie was made. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Sean, Alan, Sean, if you guys think of it, let me know. So I got to do a search for it. My brain is just not. As soon as somebody says it, I'm gonna be like, "That's it." Eagle Eye. Found it. Dystopian. We're in a dystopian world. That's what my wife said last night. So I had to use ChatGPT on that one. So but yeah, I remember like the whole, like it was wild. 2008 that movie was made. It was pretty forward thinking about AI and mass data tracking all the way back in 2008. Yeah, here we are. Crap, that's great. Like almost 20 years later, like this stuff is literally coming true. But yeah, it's wild where we're at. To be able to see this stuff and to be able to have it, to be able to use it right now has been wild. So, Sean said one thought I had was AI playbooks for MSP by solution area, simplifying the tool sets needed for real customer problems. These should include AI and non-AI solutions as well. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm going to cover in this framework. Like, we are not going to go deep into the tools because I think there's a systematic process that we need to put in place. One of them is documenting where the data lives, how the data processes through a customer, like teaching them, walking them through that process. Like we should be doing that for our own businesses as well, but just helping them see. I would zoom in here. Like the first one is just seeing the terrain, like where are you at on the map? Then you figure out which parts of the process can we fix. Then you figure out, that's when you plug in, figure out what tools you currently have to fill those gaps, then make it foundational, then go through the process of stage B, which is just unlocking, going through, building everything, trust but verify, like building security into it. So I think it's that process before you get to the top where you go through the unleash process, which is you get things working inside one department inside of their company, and then being able to clone what works, roll it out to other departments. So great thought there, Sean. And I think, yeah, that was my reasoning behind the playbooks, was being able to see the business side of it. Like we want to talk about the tools. We get nerdy on the tools so much. But I think there's the business side of it is the conversation our customers want to have. But I think just logically, at least for my brain, I think in terms of threes. I mean, we all do good, better, best, just do it, snap, crackle, pop. Like our brain thinks in terms of threes. So being able to walk people through three stages up and down, 3 steps to each stage, it's 9. Like our brains just think that way. But yeah, I want to be able to help people create playbooks and create repeatable playbooks as well. Because I think it's important, to teach our internal teams to go through this process, this framework, to figure out how we can become more lean, more efficient in our own companies, but then be able to take that outside, be able to share that, and using ourselves as real case studies, I think is super important. And that is always the stuff that stuck with my customers the most, when I had my MSP, the things that we would do using ourselves as the guinea pig first before we roll it out, using ourselves as the case study. And again, just documenting those case studies as well was super important. So, anyway, but yeah, anything else that you can think of, Sean, Alan, if you happen to be joining this later on, that might be useful, to building in there, building into this training. Again, I want to have as many people as possible to have the training. Like I've already gone through the work of building this out, and I was originally going to sell it, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to give it away. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know. Send me a DM. I'll make sure. But you'll start to see some posts probably next week, where you can register for this, so you get track of the recordings and things. So, but yeah, I kind of want to make this a discussion as well, not just listen to me drone on. But I want to make it more of a discussion, what people actually need, help people build the tools that we actually need to deliver on those promises. So I'm running out of gas here on 2:00 in the afternoon almost. But yeah, anything else you think that would be important if you happen to be watching this over the weekend? I know a lot of people. I would do my these Friday jam sessions on Friday afternoons, jam out with people live. But I was surprised how many people would watch on Saturdays, who would go back through, watch, comment. How many conversations I have with people over the weekends is pretty fascinating to me as well. So, Sean, Alan, thanks for hanging out with me today. Appreciate it. Again, I did this just to build the muscle, to get into the routine of actually getting the system and process down in my head again. But yeah, if you're wondering too, I have a system and process for everything, as you can imagine. Alan, I know you'll probably geek out on this. I figure I'll cover one last thing. I've got templates for everything, and you'll know, like I'm a ClickUp nerd. The stuff that they have is like totally amazing to me. But yes, so I'm going to show you inside of ClickUp. This is where I'm at with systems and process and have been for a while. And again, we talk about tools. This is one of the tools that, like, this is my single source of truth, where I'll show you how easy it is for me to build out my Friday Jam Sessions project. Like, this is a project that lives inside of ClickUp. So this is how I take this content. We make the streams, have all of the descriptions, all of that fun stuff there. But this is all a template. This is the entire thing, including all of the checklists. So I've got checklists for exactly what to do, share it on LinkedIn, edit my scenes in Ecamm. I've done my go live tests. Now in post-production, here's all of the things that I go through in post-production as well. So, but I've got all that nailed down. Let me show you how easy it is with this template. I've got my Friday jam session. All I do is create that. There's my Friday jam session for next week. So might as well get started on that. So we'll move that to in production. I'll go ahead and set my date. So my video number is the date for next week. I'll get that. What is next week's date? I'm going to open my calendar live on air. Give me a second. So next week, next Thursday or next Friday is the 6th. Okay. So that's how I number things. So it'll be 2026 0306. So that'll be the video number for the recording. YouTube published date will be 6th. So you see how I just go through things. I don't have to make the whole thing up. And then I've got a button in here that I click a button that moves it into my content database. I've got a button here that creates downstream assets, creates my folders in Dropbox. Like, it's just a lot of automations. But yeah, I love to geek out on, you know, how do we build stuff like that to make people's life easier. This is the stuff that your customers want to know. They want to see, like, how showing them how to create templates out of that routine work. It's not necessarily about having AI do it. It's about automation and templates. Like, that's the part of the conversation as well. So thank you, Sean, for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, but I figured, Alan, if you're still on here, you'd probably geek out on that. I love building stuff. I think I'm going to go for a walk, have some coffee on a Friday afternoon, and take my Orange Labs website live. I think I've got it pretty much there. So, all right, folks, that's going to wrap it for me on a Friday afternoon, coming up on 1:56 p.m. here in the Midwest, live from the Orange Nomad Studios. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you all have a great weekend. I don't think there's any snow in the forecast for those in the Northeast. I've got some friends in New York that had 2 feet. You can have it. I'm ready for spring. Ready for spring.